The one thing that I would say is that we really would like to have 5 of them in our office. We just need 5 of them. But
hey, Connor.
Connor, could you mute your microphone? Are you moving? You're filling up a U-Haul with stuff right now, aren't you? Anyway, we need 5 of them. I don't know if that was relevant, but anyway.
Okay, so you have like, the reason why we're asking is because you know how you said you only need 5 of them, right?
Yes.
Now you have 40 locations and you have 1 for each location. So would it be 5 for each location?
These are not the same scanners. Not the same.
Okay.
Scanners. The scanners that go out to the location, they sit on a desk.
And those are the ones that do the license ones, right?
We could just wave the credit card internet. The ones that we need in our office are different than the scanners that go in the bins out to the polling locations.
Oh, okay. So this would be the ones that do the inventory.
Yes, these are handheld sort of things that you can carry around that are wireless, that you can scan barcodes or that you could type stuff into. Those, we only need 5 of those.
Okay, cool.
Those are the ones that will sync to or help, help with the inventory.
Okay, sorry. I only had a couple hours of sleep, so I'm like, I'm just catching on.
All right, that's okay.
Okay, I'll take the next one. On the document, it says that client is using 2 days of training per person I'm guessing per cycle. How much of that 2-day training time is used training for or on the current inventory system?
Okay, so there is a separation of people here that maybe I should be more clear about. We have polling managers and polling volunteers that go to polling locations, and they're the ones that sit at the desk, and they're the ones that scan in driver's license with these little scanners. They have absolutely nothing to do with our inventory at all. And so the training that we do for them is training on how to do their voting polling location duties, how to sit in the chair, how to scan driver's license, how to check that people are registered and give them the little I voted stickers. And so we have every election cycle, we do training for the polling location managers and the volunteers, or I should say the poll workers. And that is what those 2 hours worth of training is. And we pay them for their time to sit at the polling locations. That is entirely separated from this inventory system here at our main offices. And so we have faculty, we have 5 staff, we have part-time staff, we have a clerk auditor that are in our own offices. And we are the only ones who would be interfacing with or dealing with or even knowing about the inventory system.
Excellent.
All I know is that a polling manager comes to our office, gets a cart or more than 1 cart if they're at a busy polling location. And the polling manager comes and gets it, checks it out, and then takes it to the polling location. And if they have problems with like a voting machine, or if a laptop goes down or a hotspot doesn't work, they call us on the phone and we, take them another one. And so this inventory system is just used by our office staff to track the inventory. Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. So, I mean, we do have training for our employees, just regular employees, but it's on the job training. And the idea of training for this particular inventory system, we would hope that your group would offer some kind of preliminary training on it just to get us up and running. And then in future, if we have future employees that come on, that would just be a part of their regular paycheck, would be come in and train on all of the systems in our office.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
All right. We also wanted to know how much time is the auditor spending with the current system?
The auditor is not personally involved much in the actual, putting together the cards and making sure the cards are checked out by the specific polling managers. The auditor runs the entire office, and she kind of delegates that to the full-time workers, and we coordinate that with the part-time workers in our office. But she certainly oversees all of it. I mean, she's obviously ultimately the one who's in charge of all of the equipment, but there is so much more that our clerk auditor's office does, such as all of the publicity to try to encourage people to vote, and registering new voters, and finding new polling locations. And so there's a lot more that our clerk auditor is responsible for than just tracking voting machines and pencils.
All right. Is the inventory warehouse wirelessly networked?
Yeah, it does have wireless access in there, yes.
And then you'd mentioned that there's already a server setup and a database setup.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do we know is...
We have all of the desktop computers, and we already have the internet, I mean the wireless network infrastructure in place. We have servers that will run it, databases that we can store it in. We're a government agency, and so we're required to have a quite a high level of security. And so we have IT people for our building that just monitor and track all of that, take care of all of that.
All right, excellent.
Okay, on this one, we wanted to know how many devices have been lost, and do you know which devices have been lost, and is there an estimate to the value of the lost equipment?
What kind of devices are you referring to?
So in the document, it talked about you know, like if anything gets lost, you know, like that you guys should basically have inventory on everything, right?
Yes, yes, we do.
So we just want to know.
We actually spend quite a bit of money. We actually spend about $20,000 a year in loss, where things just go missing. A laptop doesn't come back. We don't lose many voting machines because that's a pretty obvious thing. But we have, you know, hotspots that go missing and laptops that go missing and just stuff that never is returned to us that we ultimately have to replace. We spend about $20,000 a year on inventory loss.
Awesome. Well, not awesome, but awesome for us. Can we utilize open source libraries or software on this project?
As a client of a clerk auditor's office, my response to that would be, you can go to the library if you want. Sure, I don't mind.
So that one actually solves my next question. So last question for you, Amy.
Yeah, what's your yearly budget?
Our annual budget. Our entire annual budget currently is $1.1 million. If you're talking about just for our entire office, for our entire hour as a clerk auditor's budget is 1.1 million. Are you referring to the budget that we have projected for the software?
That would be helpful too.
That one, I'm trying to decide that if you ask a client that and they tell you a number, if that ends up being what the estimate is. Thinking if I go to my mechanic and I say my car is broken down and he says, how much money do you have? And I say, I have $500. That's going to be how much it costs to fix my car. I don't know.
If I was to respond to the client, it would be that we're very sensitive to the fact that you're on an extremely tight budget due to the nature of government work, and we want to make sure that our estimates come in as low as possible as a percentage of that estimate.
Excellent. That is a very, very diplomatic response to that. Yes. So we do have a figure in mind. We are shopping this particular project around for other vendors as well. And so obviously the final estimate is not our only consideration for who is going to win the contract and which of the groups will win the contract. Functionality, the features, the user interface, these things are critically important to us as well as coming in under budget, or, you know, which one of them. We're just not going to say the cheapest one, that's the one that gets it. But I just want you guys to know that your budget doesn't have to include any hardware at all. We already have all of the infrastructure that we need for it. We do not have the scanners yet, and we were hoping that you would make professional recommendations for the scanners, but you do not have to include those 5 scanners, the price for those 5 scanners in your estimate. So for you, the only estimate is just the software itself and whatever it takes for you guys, the people, and whatever it takes for you guys to develop that.
Cool. That's definitely good to know.
Okay.
Awesome. I think that's it for us.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Very good.